Hi guys, hope you're all doing well. Buying an old car is very much like putting some money in a bank account, giving the car to somebody who's got a bit of a spending problem, and then just seeing what happens. You never quite know when it's going to hit you with unexpected bills or do something that you deem a little bit naughty, start misbehaving. But equally, you shouldn't let that get in the way of your enjoyment of the car, because if it is, then there's a problem. Old cars are absolutely to be enjoyed, and this car is no exception. It is the SL55 AMG that I've recently acquired. I've only really kind of just got it back on the road because it's been out getting some things done at some people who know what they're doing far more than myself. One of the first things that I did when I picked this car up is I jumped onto Facebook and looked at the owners groups and joined a couple of those, and it's been an absolute godsend in terms of information. Everyone out there super helpful, knows the cars really well, and provided me with a few insights, some things I didn't really know that I should be looking out for in this car throughout the ownership experience. And the first thing that kind of everyone said is, you must, with an R230, the first thing that you've got to do is change the park pull in the gear shift, right? Because apparently the factory install one is a plastic one, and over time that can break and you get stuck in park. And if that happens, you're stranded. You've got to get the car recovered, got to take the box apart. It is much easier to proactively get this fixed than it is to wait for it to break. So I have my replacement metal part that I ordered on eBay, and we'll get that installed at some point. But one of the symptoms of that starting to go wrong is it's hard to get out of park. This one is still absolutely fine, so hopefully we're in good shape, or it might have already been done, who knows. But in this video we're going to be looking at what I've had done to the car so far, and of course importantly how much it's cost, because if you're in the market for one of these, you're going to want to get a good idea of just how much it could potentially set you back. Now, we've got to talk about the price point of these cars now. Wow. It is, for me anyway, the bargain of the century. The price these things are going for right now is absolutely brilliant, and also a little bit sad because I think they're worth far more than what they're going for right now. But of course there are reasons as to why they go for what they go, aside from the horrible conditions that the market is experiencing right now, and that is the ABC system. I spoke about that on the previous video. If that goes, it's expensive. Many people convert to coilovers. I want to keep this car original, so if it does go wrong, it'll just have to cost me a lot of money. And of course it just gets harder and harder to put things right as you go forward, because parts are less and less readily available, which is unfortunate. So I think, what I might do is start trawling for things that I think might break and order the parts in advance. The ABC pump is a great one to call out there, because that is no longer manufactured, often goes wrong, so you have to get a reconditioned unit. So I may proactively get one of those just in case. But what have I had done to this car so far? What have I spent on it? So when I got the car, it was in, I have to say, very good condition. Obviously some things that I found it needed doing, right? It's an older car, 21 years old now, and it has been well looked after, plenty of receipts, lots of money have been spent on it over time. When I picked this car up, I budgeted £4,000 aside to put things right. I thought that's kind of how much it would need doing, and we are under that at the moment, which is great. So the first thing that I wanted to get done to the car was mechanical. So it went off to my trusty Indy, who's a great guy who I've been using for ages and ages, really knows his stuff, really just a fantastic independent dealer to know. He's been brilliant. So what did we do there? Well, there was some noise coming from the pulleys at the front, I think the tensioner pulley, so all of those were looked at as part of the job list, very important. And 2 new belts at the front as well. We got those replaced. Why not just get them done while everything's apart? There were leaks around the rocker covers, both sides. They had been done by the previous owner, but my Indy said, you know what, I don't think they've been done properly. We'll get the tops off completely, get the engine warmed up, get the seals redone, put the gaskets in, and just ensure that they're nice and true before giving it back to you. So they did that. They took the rocker covers off, replaced those gaskets, and lo and behold, there is no leaking, no weeping taking place right now. It wasn't a bad leak, but it was a leak nevertheless. So thank you very much for putting that right. The front suspension, control arms, bushes, everything was kind of deteriorated there. So we did all that as well whilst we were getting the car done. The boot catch at the rear, that is sticking, so we've got a new one on order. It might take some time to get here though, so we'll just be patient, change that when it is. You can of course still open the boot with the fob. Also, just because I thought it was a wise thing to do, had the gearbox oil changed. I think it was last done about 50,000 miles ago in this car, maybe a little bit later according to the receipt. So, you know, it's a relatively straightforward job to do, and it can't hurt the car, right? So just, we did that for a bit of extra security. Also, ABC system, fluid flush and replacement of that filter. Now the fluid in there was in good condition, which is great, because I've seen, you know, people whose cars have failed, ABC system has packed up or an accumulator has started leaking and the fluid is filthy. I think the motto with the ABC system is use it, right? Jack the car up and down, not a ridiculous amount of times, but just, you know, use it regularly, keep the circulation going around the system, and change the fluid as well, and it should do you proud for as long as possible. You know, it's never going to last forever. I think at some point something will go wrong, but look after that fluid. I think that's what a lot of people are saying. Just keep on top of it, keep replacing it, flush it however often you can. You know, it can't hurt the car, I don't think. So we did that as well. Also, supercharger, that was lubed up at the back. Now this car sounds to me like a Spitfire, like a Messerschmitt, like such a deep bassy rumble. I absolutely love it. And the supercharger lube is apparently the same stuff they use in jet engines to lube the bearings of the spindles in jet engines, which is absolutely, the shaft I should say, which is insane. So yeah, dedicated specific lubricant for that as well. Also, my Indy spotted that one of the front coolant pipes was rubbing slightly and needed replacing, so that was ordered from Germany and we got that replacement part. So that was the mechanical side of things. My Indy did a fantastic job of everything. The car sounds brilliant. There's no squeaking coming from the pulleys anymore, so everything that needed sorted out was absolutely sorted out, and I'm very, very impressed with it. Cost of all this work, $1480. $1480 all in for all of these jobs to do. He did advise that the ABC system looked good. It jacks up and down nicely. There's no squeaks from it. If you have your foot on the brake, obviously you get a bit of squeak then, but generally it looks pretty good. So I think that's an absolute steal, and you know, worth doing, right? Just get the car sorted as much as possible when you get it, look after it, budget money for it. So that was the mechanical side of things. The next thing that needed doing was the rust at the rear arches. So that was sent off a week or so ago, and we had the rear arches done. Also, there was a scuff on the bumper, and of course Mercedes of this era are a shocker for rusting. The Chrysler partnership, which I think was 98 to 2006 or something around those years, I don't know where they got their steel from, but I don't think it was good quality steel. But so many cars from that era suffer from rust. My E-Class had it as well, and this was starting to show signs of it as well. So get on top of it, right? Get on top of it before it gets too bad. So that's absolutely what we did. Yeah, went off to a local body shop that I know that I use, and they've done it again. They've done a brilliant job. It's always a bit nerve-wracking when you send a car off to get something like that done, that you get a phone call and they'll say, oh, you know what, it's not looking good. It's rusted much further than we thought. But it wasn't too bad. It was surface rust, so they've taken it all off, reprimed, sealed, painted, and colour matched, and it looks brilliant. I'm over the moon with the job they've done, and just putting a few more years into the car, into the arches. So what did we spend on the rust? Well, the rust, both rear arches to be done, was 1,200 quid all in, which I think is a steal. A really, really good job was done. They had the car apart, saw the pictures, got the bumper off, etc., and just did a really thorough job. So 1,200 quid, absolute steal to get that done. Sorted, shouldn't hopefully come back. Next, the alloy wheels on this car. So out the factory, 22 spoke, 18-inch diamond cut wheels. And diamond cut wheels, if you've had them, you will know they are effectively an absolute nightmare. They always corrode over time. I've never known a pair come out the factory that don't corrode. You know, I've seen cars that are 2 years old out the factory starting to suffer from corrosion. You get these worms under the lacquer, and of course you can get them sorted by having them re-diamond cut, but you can only do that 2-3 times, because every time you do this, it's actually a destructive process on the wheel. You're taking another layer of the wheel off. The other problem with these wheels is they are no longer made. They are absolutely no longer made. There might be a few new ones hanging out still in Germany, but you're going to be paying probably 4,000 euros for a set, right? Which is ridiculous given the cost of the car. You know, there's the odd one or two you might find on eBay, but they are a lot of money for wheels that have been refurbed, re-diamond cut. And the problem is you get them diamond cut and they corrode again, right? It just comes back. So you've got to, at some point, make the decision to have the wheels powder coated, which is absolutely what I decided to do. Now, when the guys had the wheels off, I initially wanted to get them diamond cut again, 150 a wheel. I said I want them diamond cut back to factory. They took them off and could see that they had already been done once, right? There was markings on the inside from the previous refurb guys, so we could see they'd already been redone. So given that, you know, we could probably do them one more time again, maybe have them last a year, 2 years at a push. So we decided just to bite the bullet and get them powder coated, painted all over. And I have to say, they look fantastic. They've done a great job here. We've got a slight sparkle paint, which is a little nod to the kind of sparkle you might get from the diamond cut face of those alloys, but they, I think, look fantastic. Also, we had new center caps placed in the middle of the wheel. The original OEM center caps are just grey, which look good, but the badge on the bonnet is a proper MB badge, so I echoed that with the center caps as well, and I think they look fantastic. So I'm really pleased with how the wheels have come out, and of course having them powder coated will mean that they last for years and years if they're well looked after. No reason, right? So no reason why they shouldn't. The cost for powder coated was 390, and the caps 390 all in, which is significantly cheaper than diamond cut. And of course, diamond cut being a destructive process isn't what we want to do to these wheels because they're no longer made. So 1,200 for the rust, 1,400 mechanically, which is pretty good, I think, and 390 for the wheels. That puts us all in at just about sort of £3,000 mark, which is £1,000 under what I budgeted for so far. Now, the next thing to have done to this car is the detailing. Get it looking as spick and span as we possibly can, and it will be going off in 2 weeks' time for that to happen, and we'll be covering this. But what is this car like so far? It is absolutely brilliant. I love this car. I'm really enjoying my time with it. It's very well behaved. It's so far not battered an eyelid. It just kind of keeps working, and it sounds really tight. Everything kind of operational. A few more bits that need doing, a few more details that need doing, but on the whole, I am loving this car, and I hope it lasts. So if you haven't subbed already, do sub for this car. I'll keep the content for this car coming, let you know my progress with it, how it's working out, maybe get some road trips with it. Generally just enjoy the thing, right, which is what it's all about. So do stay safe, stay well, see you on the next one, and bye for now.